From declaring himself a god to naked fighting for a crowd, Roman Emperor Commodus always insisted on being the star of his own super messed up show. We're covering the real-life ruler from Gladiator, whose nightmarish reign made him go down as one of the nuttiest emperors of all time. So unsheath your sword, because this emperor is entering the arena. Not long into Gladiators, spoilers ahead, Commodus kills his father, Marcus Aurelius, in an awkward hug strangle after learning that Pops was passing the emperor torch to his favorite general, Maximus. The real-life Commodus probably didn't kill his father, and that's where the good things said about him kind of run out. Commodus's father, Marcus Aurelius, did go down in history as a benevolent emperor, the last of the pack known as the Five Good Emperors of Rome. At the time of his death in 180 AD, Marcus Aurelius was also in the midst of the Marcomannic Wars, shown in the battle at the start of the film. The real Marcus Aurelius did choose to appoint his son Commodus as heir, unlike some of his predecessors who chose adopted heirs. Commodus had already been appointed co-emperor several years prior, so there was little doubt to his claim of succession. The film's hero, Maximus, is fictional, and probably an amalgamation of several real-life historical figures. Since Commodus was already jointly ruling in the heir apparent, there seems to be little real-life motive for committing patricide. Most historians agree that Marcus Aurelius died during the wars from a raging plague at the time of either smallpox or measles. Still, there are conspirators who believe Commodus killed his father, citing his suspiciously quick exit from the battlefield back to Rome. Commodus did promptly make peace with his father's war enemies and hightail it back to the city, but many think this was just so the spoiled 18-year-old could surround himself with luxurious comforts entitled to the ruler of Rome. War can be so blah. The real Commodus was not a big fan of the day-to-day duties of a ruler and delegated running Rome to his underlings. He was a big fan, though, of the gladiator life, so much so that he wasn't content to sit on the sidelines and spectate, as was expected of the emperor. Much to the horror of the Roman senators and aristocracy, Commodus decided that he would be the star of the show, and made everyone cheer him on as he entered the ring himself, often in the nude. The ruler of the people performing this little self-indulgence was seen as shameful, but most were too scared of the erratic young emperor to say anything about it. So, Commodus would continuously fight, preparing grand spectacles where he would take on entire zoos of animals, including hippopotami, giraffes, and ostriches. He supposedly got a big kick out of beheading ostriches and watching them continue to run, and in one instance he apparently chopped off the bird head and held it in a threatening way in front of the senators, as if to say, "You're next." As for fighting humans, Commodus would show mercy in the ring, allowing his gladiator opponents to live. In the comfort of his own home, though, Commodus would apparently murder fighters willy-nilly. Supposedly, he would invite gladiators over to work on his training, and then kill them when they inevitably lost. It wasn't exactly a fair fight to begin with, since no gladiator who still had a head on him would be dumb enough to beat the emperor. So scoring an invite to an at-home spar with Commodus was really a lose-lose situation. As portrayed in the film, Commodus did have a plotting sister named Lucilla, and he was known to be incest-inclined. Though some of the details about the movie version of this sister were changed or made up, the real Lucilla did try to kill her brother. Perhaps sensing his budding mental instability, Lucilla had Senate support for her plot to assassinate Commodus. Unfortunately, the would-be assassin was caught by guards within a few feet of his target. Lucilla was banished to the island of Capri before being executed on her bro's orders within the year. Commodus's relationship with the Senate further soured, and his paranoia spiraled out of control. Over the course of his 12-year reign, he had a lot of higher-ups killed, including several of his closest friends and allies. He wasn't totally off base in his fears, though, as there were in fact many plots to kill him before one was finally successful. If you haven't picked up on it yet, Commodus was not exactly a humble guy. In fact, he found himself so wonderful and almighty that he declared himself to be a literal god, specifically the incarnation of Hercules. Yeah, you know, the supernaturally strong son of Zeus who slays 9-headed snakes. Commodus thought the correlation was so strong that he dressed up as Hercules, at times wearing lion skins and carrying a club into the arena. At least he was clothed. But at this point, the Roman emperor was dressing up in a Hollywood costume and making the whole city watch and cheer him on as real gladiators pretended to fight him. You know, like a 5-year-old. To top off his obsession, Commodus had statues erected around Rome portraying himself as Hercules. One was even made of solid gold and weighed 1,000 pounds. If that sounds like a colossal waste of tax dollars, just wait till you hear this. Each time Commodus donned his gladiator gear, he charged the state 1,000,000 sesterces, meaning his little hobby helped bring Rome to financial ruin. Speaking of ruin, in 191 AD, a fire ravaged throughout Rome. Commodus, ever the opportunist, declared himself the new founder of Rome. Since Rome was named after its actual founder, Romulus, Commodus decided to change its name. He renamed the city Colonia Commodiana, meaning colony of Commodus, and the Roman people Commodianae. Real creative, but he didn't stop there though. He also renamed all the months of the year to his various names and titles. Luckily, none of this stuck, and every month is not Commodus month. Commodus loved to party. Not so much in a fun way, but in a super creepy and cruel way. He was said to hold over-the-top banquets where his entertainment seemed to come from anyone and everyone doing his bidding. According to one particularly upsetting but also unverified story, he had 2 disabled men served as a dinner dish at a banquet. You didn't mishear that. You heard me. He supposedly had 2 men with hunched backs, literally slathered in mustard, and served on a platter. Cannibalism wasn't his particular brand of evil, though. The men were not eaten, they just had to sit there at the dinner table pretending to be food so the emperor could have a good laugh. Commodus's mistreatment of others apparently extended to the bedroom, and he was said to have 300 concubines who were forced to engage in more of his sick and twisted games. According to one bizarre anecdote, Commodus had a young boy sleep with him in the nude and made him legally rename himself the boy who loves Commodus. I kinda doubt he does. Commodus's antics eventually caught up to him, but not as shown in the film's version of events. While the real Commodus probably would have preferred to go out in the gladiator arena at the hands of Russell Crowe, he actually met a more pitiful demise in his bathtub. The latest assassination plot on Commodus involved his close advisors and his #1 mistress, a woman named Marcia. Marcia attempted to poison Commodus, but it didn't work. He vomited the poison up. As Commodus was washing off the puke in his bath, Narcissus, Commodus's wrestling partner and coach, was sent in to finish the job. Narcissus strangled his master and killed him. As he murdered the emperor and was a Roman athlete, Narcissus is thought to be one of the inspirations for Maximus in Gladiator. Unfortunately, Commodus's death did not mean a happy ending for Rome. Instead, it plunged the Roman Empire into civil war. And while Joaquin Phoenix's crazy eyes definitely do justice to the power-hungry and capricious Emperor Commodus, he might not have been quite as bad as history remembers him. While there's a lot of documented hate for Commodus from the aristocracy, it's thought that his performance-heavy rule was actually well-liked by the army and commoners. Hey, how are you not entertained? Let us know in the comments. What's the Commodus consensus?